Welcome to today's land auction via AuctionCast, the most informative method to buy and sell land at auction. I'm your host, Tyler Tissue, and joining me on my left here, Brian Haugen. Brian, why don't you introduce yourself to the audience here today?
Hey, good morning, Tyler. It's great to be here. My name's Brian Haugen. I'm the broker here and the auction manager for today's auction sale.
Very good. Look forward to hear what you have to say here in a little bit. We also are going to have Alex Wayne, our agronomy expert, is going to be showing up in the same spot here in a little bit. But before that, I have Craig Borchard on my right here. Craig, why don't you introduce yourself to the audience as well?
Thank you, Tyler. Good morning. My name is Craig Borchard. I'm the consulting director at Ascent Financial. And at Ascent Financial, we help farmers and agribusiness with transition and estate planning and help advise them on significant and complicated transactions.
Very good. Well, I'm looking forward to hearing about some of the financial analysis you do later in the show. We have an exciting auction here today. We'll be selling the Georges Family Living Trust Farm. This is located in Redwood County in Minnesota, and it's 82.31 acres, more or less. This will be offered in one tract today. This farm is located in Section 3 of the Willow Lake Township in south central Minnesota, south of Redwood Falls, and southeast of Wabasso, Minnesota. But before we get started, we like to introduce you to what we call the Land Market Update. This is where we bring you the most up-to-date recent sales across the region, the state, as well as some direct local comps. And the first one we have for you today is in Douglas County, Illinois. 106 acres, sold for $17,600 per acre. And next, we're going to my home state of Iowa, O'Brien County. 112 acres, sold for $19,500 per acre. And then Sioux County, Iowa. 80 acres, sold for $20,300 per acre. So some phenomenal sales across the region there. So we can still see some great sales happening that way. Now we're in Minnesota, Steele County. 111 acres, sold for $13,900 per acre. Then we're moving on to Freeborn County, Minnesota. 160 acres, sold for $16,500 an acre. And next, Dodge County. 153 acres, sold for $16,100 per acre. So some phenomenal sales so far in the region and the state. And now we're going to do some direct comps. The first one we have is in Renville County, Minnesota. 80 acres with an 81.6 CPI, sold for $13,700 per acre. Then Redwood County, Minnesota. 80 acres with a 91 CPI, sold for $10,625 per acre. So phenomenal sales are still happening across the region, the state, as well as some direct comps. But before we get started, I have our auction manager here today, Brian Haugen. Brian, I know you know a lot about this farm. You've been dealing with this thing here for a little while. Why don't you tell the people in the audience a little more about it?
Yeah, thanks, Tyler. First of all, I'd like to say I'm honored to be here to represent the Georges family. We have 82.31 plus or minus acres. Those are the deeded acres. Okay, we'll be selling the farm on the deeded acres today. The tillable acres, if you follow along, you can take a look at your FSA map. Now, the FSA map has a sliver of land from the parcel to the west. So we talked with the FSA, and we're estimating this at 82 plus or minus acres of tillable farmland. So the FSA acres has just a few more acres on it, but it's because of that sliver from the neighbor to the west. So CPI, most important part of normally what we talk about, and I'm not going to take Alex's thunder because he knows a lot about agronomy and a lot about soils, but I'm just going to say this has a CPI, strong CPI for the area, 82.9. Highly productive soils. Again, Alex will get into them in just a bit. We have natural drainage. There is slope on this farm, as you can see if you look at the topography map. So we have that natural drainage occurring, and if you look on the map, we have a public ditch to the west side of the farm. Now, there is some tile that I'm told that is ran to there, 2 or 3 strings in the spots needed. We do not have tile maps today, but I was out there when I was droning and walking the farm when we first began our journey here. We could see the tile was actually running because winter never showed up here, and those tile lines were running, and there's outlets into that drainage ditch.
Very good.
So we're disclosing we do not have a tile map, but there is some tile in the farm. So great location, like you said, just southeast of Wabasso, north of Redwood Falls, kind of by Morgan, out in that kind of prime spot. There's a lot of prime farmland, a lot of large farms. This farm just off Highway 71, so you have great access, nearby grain elevator and co-op, just right up the road. We stopped in there and talked to all those folks. So if any of them are watching, thanks for all the information. They said, this is a great area. We learned a lot by talking to a number of the folks out in the area. So real estate taxes on this one, this is what I want to point out, $2,892 per acre. Divide that out over the 82 point some odd acres, you're down about $35 per acre. Almost to your Iowa taxes there.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. That's a lot better than most of them I see in Minnesota.
Yeah, so the real estate taxes are fair on this parcel. So the investors, we have many people watching, many people registered to bid online. So you can plug that into the equation for your returns. That's a favorable tax number.
Yeah, no, it definitely is. Definitely is. Well, thank you very much, Brian, for all that information. We do want to welcome all of our on-site and online bidders. Thank you for joining us here at AuctionCast. I would like to point out a few things to our viewers. Make sure you're aware of the documents online about today's farm. These are located in the Documents tab of the bidding screen or on our website under the property. At any time, if you'd like to bid by phone, have any technical issues, or have questions, please call the number on your screen. Our auction managers, Brian Haugen, and the rest of our team are ready to answer your questions and take your bids over phone, via text, or by email. Many of you may also continue to bid online anytime during the broadcast of this auction sale by clicking the bid button. I'd also like to take this moment to introduce our auctioneers for today, Greg and Sonny Jensen. Greg has been in the land auction business for over 50 years and brings a wealth of experience with him to AuctionCast. And Sonny Jensen is a third-generation auctioneer with a number of achievements under his belt already in his career. So thank you for joining us here at AuctionCast, and let's get this auction started with our auctioneer, Mr. Greg Jensen.
Thank you very much, Tyler. I'm Greg Jensen, and I'm going to read the terms and the conditions of the sale here today. The method of sale, bidding will be dollars per deeded acre unless otherwise indicated by the auctioneer. Deeded acres may change because of a survey or other factors, in which case the total sales price will be adjusted to reflect that. The seller reserves the right to accept or reject any or all bids. The auction company and the seller reserve the right to preclude any person from bidding if there is any concern as to the person's credentials or fitness to bid or enter into a contract. Agency, Land Pros Real Estate LLC and its agents represent the seller. The taxes, 2024 taxes, will be paid by the buyer as taxes are current now in Minnesota. Conditions, the sale is subject to all easements, restrictions of record, covenants, leases. Each bidder is responsible for conducting their own inquiries and due diligence efforts at their own risk concerning the subject property. All property as is sold as is, where is, with no warranties. Contract and title. Immediately upon the conclusion of the auction, the highest winning bidder will enter into a real estate contract purchase agreement and provide funds for earnest money to be deposited with the real estate and the auction company. Seller will provide updated abstract or owner's title policy and with clear title at their expense. Sale is not contingent upon buyer's financing. The closing date is on or before April 15th, 2024. Terms and possessions, $50,000 down, non-refundable. Today, the balance is due at closing on or before April 15, 2024. There will be a 2% buyer's premium added to the final purchase price. Possession at closing, subject to tenant's rights. I think it is leased out for this year. The tillable farmland is leased for 2024, and the buyer will receive that income. Online bidding starts February 28, 2024, which is right, it's already started. Seller reserves the right to accept or reject any or all bids. Any statement made day of the auction takes precedence over previous material. All information provided herein was obtained from sources deemed reliable, but neither the auction nor the auction company guarantees its accuracy. I'm going to turn this over to Sonny Jensen right now, who is going to start the auction.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get going. Here we go. We got 7,000 who'd give me 8. And now 7. Now play down, 8 down, out of them deer, down 7,000, 8 down, out of them deer, down 8 down, out of them deer. And now 7, give me 8, down 8,000, out of them deer, down 8 down, out of them deer. And now 7, give me 8, down 8 down, out of them deer, down 8 out of them deer, down 8 out of them here, down 8 out of them 8,000. Now wait a bit of them 8 here. And now 7, 8, down out of them 8 here, down 8 down, out of them deer, down 8 here, down out of 7, 8. And now 7,000, 8 down, out of them deer, down 8 down, out of them deer, down 8 here, down out of them 8, 8 out of 8 out of them deer, down 8,000. And now 7. 7, 8, how many down out of them deer, down 8 here, down to 7,000, 8 down out of them deer, and now 7, 8, how many here, down 8 out of them deer, down 7 grand, 8 grand, and now 7,000, 8 down out of them deer, down 8 here, down 8 down out of them deer, and now 7, 8, how many down out of them deer, bigger number 10,000, you're out there, now 7, now 8, and now 7 out of them deer, down 8 out of them deer, down 8 down out of them deer, down 8 here, down to 7, 8, how many 7,000, 8 down out of them deer, and now 7, 8, how many 7 out of them deer, down 8 out of them deer, down 7, 8, how many 8 out of them deer, and now 7, give me 8, down 7,000, 8 down out of them deer, down 7,000, got to be 8, and now 7,000, 8 down out of them deer, down 7,000 out of them deer, down 8 down out of them deer, and now 7, 8, how many 8 down out of them deer, down 8 out of them 8 down 8 down 8 down 8 deer, down 8 down out of them deer, down 7, got to be 8, and now 7,000, 8,000, 7, 8, how many 8 down out of them deer, and now 7,000, 8,000, now 7, 8, how many 7 down out of them deer, down 8, and now 7 grand, 8 grand, how many 7 down out of them deer, now's the time, and now 7, 8, how many 7 down out of them deer, down 8 down out of them deer, and now 7, 8, how many 7,000, 8,000, how many 7 7 out of them 8 down out of them deer, and now 7, 8, and now 7, 7, 8, how many 8 down out of them deer, down 8 down out of them deer, down 8,000, and now 7, now 8, how many 8 down out of them deer, down 7, got to be 8, and now 7,000, 8 down out of them deer, down 8 down out of them deer, down 8, how many 7 grand, 75, and now try 75, down 7,000, 75, 5 out of it 7,500 out of them deer, and now 7 grand, 75, out of it 5 out of it 5 out of them deer, 7 grand, 75, and now 7 grand, 75, let's roll, 7 down out of them deer, down 75 out of them deer, down 7 grand, 75, we got 7, got to be 75, now 7, 75, and now 7 down out of them deer, down 5 out of them deer, down 7 grand, 75, and now 7 grand, 75 out of them deer, down 5 here, down 5 out of them deer, down 5 out of it 7 grand, 75, and now 7 grand, 75, down 7 down out of them deer, down 5 out of them deer, and now 7 grand. Give me 7,500, 7 grand, 75, and now 7 grand, 7,500 out of them deer, down pine out of them deer, down pine out of them deer, down pine out of them deer, to 7 grand, 75, and now 7, 7, 75 out of it, down here, down pine out of it, down here, to 7 grand, 75 out of it, down here, to 7 grand, 75, and now 7 grand, we're going $500 a piece, if here, down 700, down out of them deer, down pine out of it, down 7 grand, 75, and now 7 grand, 75 out of them deer, down 7 down out of them deer, down pine out of them deer, down pine out of them deer, down 7 grand, 75, and now 7 grand, 75, let's roll, down 7 down out of them deer, down pine out of them deer, down 7 grand, 75, and now 7 grand, 7,500 out of them deer, down 500 out of them deer, down 5 out of it, 7 grand, 75, and now 7 grand, 75, 75, 75 out of them deer, down 7 down out of them deer, down 5, and now 7 grand, 7,500 out of them deer, down 5 out of it, 7 down out of them deer, down 5, and now 7,000 out of them deer, down 5 out of them deer, down 7,000, 75, 5 out of it, 7,500 out of them deer, and now 7 grand, give me 7,500 out of them deer, down 5 out of them deer, down 5 out of it, 7 grand, 7,500 out of them deer, and now 7 grand, 75 out of them deer, down 5 out of it, 7 grand, 75, and now 7 grand, 75, down 500 out of them deer, down 5 out of them deer, down 5, and now 7 grand, give me 7,500, down 75 out of them deer, down 5 out of them deer, and now 7 grand, 7,500 out of them deer, down 5 out of them deer, down 5 out of it, 7 grand, 7,500 out of them deer, and now 7 grand, 75 out of them deer, down 7 out of them deer, down 5 out of them deer, down 7 grand, 75. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to take a little recess. I'm going to turn it over to Tyler and those gentlemen over there, and they're going to talk about the farm. Tyler, take it away.
Thank you very much there, Sonny. So we're at $7,000 an acre, asking $7,500 here, but we did bring in one of our agronomy experts here, Alex Wayne. So he's going to talk to you about some of the agronomy aspects. But Alex, why don't you introduce yourself to the audience here today and tell them a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, I'm Alex Wayne. I've been in the agronomy business for, since 2012, so it's been a while. I graduated with a soils degree and agronomy, and I've been an agronomist ever since. I own a seed dealership. When we start talking about soils, I'm very well aware, especially in southern Minnesota, on how soils perform. That's your background. That's my background.
Yeah, I mean, you own a seed dealership. People are going to talk to you about that stuff, right?
Yep. So we start looking at the soils on this farm, right, Tyler?
Yep.
And it's got a great CPI, 82.9. You start digging into the actual soils, though, most of it is loam soil. And when you're talking about loam soil, so you got 40% sand, 40% silt, 20% clay. So you get the best of all worlds. And you start looking at the CPIs of the actual loams, they're all in the 90s, and you've got your natural drainage as well with the slopes on this farm, but loams, they just naturally drain. They hold water well, too, because you've got that 20% clay.
And we need that this year.
Yeah, we need that this year.
We've got a dry year this year. I mean, at least it's certainly turning out to be that way with no real winter for any of us up here.
Yep. And then you start talking about loams with just fertility, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to hold fertilizer very well. The CECs are high. It's just, when you're talking about CPIs, it's great. You look at the actual soil types, though, these are very, very productive southern Minnesota soils.
Yeah, so this definitely should be a well-producing farm.
Yeah, yep, absolutely.
Well, very good. Well, Once again, we're at $7,000 an acre, asking $7,500. We're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we're going to get right back to this auction. Welcome back to Auction Cast. So when we left, we were at $7,000 an acre. We're got 71 now, but we're going to send this back to Sonny Jensen here, and he's going to get this auction going.
So we were at 7,000. Now we're at 71. We got a new bidder in the house. 71, 72, and now pawn down to down 7,100, 72 down pawn going $100 at a piece. And now 71, 72, two to the bid on two down 7,100 down 2. And now 71, 72 down 7,100 down 2 and now 7,100, 7,200 down money 1 2. And now 71, give me 2 down 7,100 down 200 and now 7,100, 7,200 down 2 down 2 2 down 2 down 2 down 2 down 71 72 and now 71 down 2 down 2 down 2 down 2 down 71 72 71 down 2 and now 71 72 down 71 down 2 down and now 7,100 7,200 down 2 down 2 2 down 1 2 and now 71 72 down 71 down 2 down and now 7,100 7,200 down 2 down 2 2 down 1 2 down 2 down 2 and now 71 72 now 71 down 2 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 2 down 1 2 and now 71 2 down 71 down 1 2 and now 7,100 7,200 let's roll down 71 down 2 down 2 and now 7,100 72 click in if you want at 71 72 and now 71 down 2 2 2 down 71 down bidder number 10,005 is in if you're not that you're out and now 7,100 down 2 down 2 and now 7,100 7,200 71 72 71 2 and now 71 down 2 here down 1 2 and now 71 72 2 down 2 down 2 and now 7,100 7,200 down 2 down 2 2 down 2 down 2 down 1 2 and now 71 72 down 2 down 1 2 and now 71 72 down 71 down 2 down 1 2 and now 7,100 72 down 71 down 2 and now 7,100 7,200 down 2 down 2 2 down 2 down 2 and now 7,100 7,200 down 2 down 2 2 down 2 and now 71 7,200 give me 72 down 71 down 2 and now 7,100 7,200 down 2 down 2 now 71 72 and now 71 money 1 2 and now 71 72 down 1 2 and now 71 7,200 down 200 down 72 7,200 and now 72 got to be 1 got to be 2 got to be 2 2 2 down 1 2 and now 7,100 7,200 down 2 down 2 2 down 2 and now 71 72 down 71 down 2 down 2 down 2 2 down 2 down 2 down 2 and now 71 72 2 down 2 here and now 71 72 2 down 2 down 2 down 2 down 2 71 2 ladies and gentlemen we're going to take another recess. I'm going to turn it back over to Tyler and we will be right back.
Thank you very much there, Sonny. So we're at 7,100. I think we got some people playing possum over there. Y'all need to start hitting that bid button because this is a great farm here, just like Alex just talked about here a little bit ago. This is a tremendously good producing farm here, so start hitting that bid button. But I'm going to get with my colleague here, Craig Borchard. Craig, you've done some financial analysis with this farm, so why don't you tell the audience a little bit more about this farm in particular?
Sure, Tyler. You know, we kind of take a look at this farm, and one of the first things I look at is what it might rent for under kind of a commercial terms. So right now it's rented for this coming crop year at $225 per acre. But after that, it will be open to leased out to anybody. And when we look at what a commercial lease might be on this, looking at county average corn yields and kind of looking at that flex lease that I usually talk about, you know, where it's about 40%, you know, of the production going to the rent over the course of the year.
And that's on beans, though, right?
For beans and a third for corn. So in this one, we did it based off of corn, you know, but it'll average out over time to pretty similar and came up with $337.55 per acre of kind of the projected rent into the future. Now, this also looks at how this might perform over a very long period of time. So what would we think we'd return over a 10-year period of time if we consider that crop prices go up a certain percent each year for the last 50 years, factoring that in, and the average appreciation of land over the last 50 years. You know, taking that rent and that land appreciation, you know, over that 10-year period of time, we project a 10-year annualized average return of 14.33%.
Which is a phenomenal. I mean, almost 15% return, which is
Yep.
way better than obviously like your index funds and stuff that you get out there. I mean, so for some of you investors who are sitting out there, we know you have some of you guys that are sitting there online. This is a tremendous return here that's going to be on this farm here, and obviously right now this is a very good buy here. This is a low price here. We know there's a lot more meat left on these bones than this one, but 15% return over time.
Absolutely.
And that's, I mean, how could that's a huge return there.
Yep.
I mean, so yeah, I mean, you guys got to start hitting the bid button on this one. This is a tremendously good farm, a great producing farm, and as you can see right there, that's going to be a great investment over time as well. But so thank you very much, Craig. I don't know if anything else you want to add there, but thank you very much. Here we're going to just looking at this here. So we're at $7,100 an acre here, and just like Alex was talking about here just a little bit ago, this is an 85, 86 CPI farm. This is a tremendously good farm here, folks. And right now we've got 7,100, which is a phenomenal price here for this one. It's low for this thing here. There's definitely a lot of bidding that should be going on there for this farm here right now, because it's a great farm. But Alex, as you said here, and the soils, it's got some tremendously good soils. It's got it's got some great drainage, and it's got it even has a little bit of tile that's in this farm as well here. So we know we got a great producing farm when we know we have a great investment in a farm as well that we can see from all of this here.
And Tyler, as we've said before on auctions, a farm's only as good as its outlet, right? And we know there's an outlet there. There's a county ditch on the west end. Very easily throw some laterals at it. You're going to have a really high producing farm. These soils drain naturally, but you start doing some improvements on farms like this, you can see major yield bumps.
Yeah.
And especially in certain soils like our loams that are a little heavier, clay loams especially, which there's a variety, but overall, if you did some improvements on this farm, it's very productive the way it is, but it can get better.
Well, you know how to make these farms even better. So
yep.
that's why you folks who are sitting out there looking to even do a little bit more, you need to get a hold of Alex, and he'll help you improve that farm even better. But right now we are at $7,100 an acre, asking $72. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're hoping some of you folks start hitting the bid button, because we're going to be right back here, getting back at this auction here in a minute.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're back. We're at $8,000. Who'd give me 81? Now wait down to 81. And now 8,081. Down 1,000 there down to 81. 81. And now 8,081. 81. 100 there. And now 1. 8,081. Make grand 81. Now 8,000 there down 1. And now 8 grand 81. Money 8,081. Now 8,081. Down 8,000 there down 81. 8,000 there down 1. Make grand 81. And now 8 grand 81. There down 81. There down 1. And now 81. There down there down make grand 81. And now 8,081. 100 there down 8,000 there down 81. Make grand 81. And now 8 grand give me 8,100 there down 8,000 there down there down make grand 81. And now 8,081. Now 8,081. And now 8,000 there down 8,100 there down 8,000 there down 1. And now 8 grand 81. 8,081. And now 8 grand 81. Down 8,000 there down 1 there down 8,000 there down 1. And now 8,081. Make grand 81 there down there down 1. And now 8 grand 81 there down 1 here down 1 there down 8 baby down 1 there down 81 there down 81. And now 8 grand 81 there down 1 here down 8,081. And now 8 grand 81. Let's roll down 8,000 there down 1 there down 8 grand 81. And now 8 grand 81 there down 8,000 there down 1. Y'all done? And now 8,081. 8,000 there down 81 there down. Y'all done? And now 8,081. 8,000 there down there down 8 grand 81. Now 8,000 there down there down 8 grand 81 there down 1. And now 8,081. 30 seconds on it. And now 8,081. 8,081. 8 grand 81. And now 8,081. 8,000 there down there. And now 8 grand 81. Now 8,000 there 20 seconds. 8 grand 81. And now 8 grand 81. 8,000 there down there down 8 grand 81. And now 8 grand 81. 8,000 there down 81. 8 grand 81. I'm gonna hammers high. And now 8 grand 81. 8,000 there down 81. 8 grand 81. And now 8 grand 81. Now 8,100 there down 8,000 there down there down 8,8100. Sold it on an if. So this is going to be subject to the seller's approval. Sold it on an if. And I'm going to turn it back over to Tyler. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very, very much. Tyler, take it away.
Thank you very much there, Sonny. So looks like after a lot of work here, We ended up selling this thing for $8,000 an acre, and with the 2% buyer's fee, it's a total of $671,649 an acre. So great sale there. We had to work hard for this one here. We appreciate all of your patience there, and we would like to thank all of our bidders that came to participate today. Congratulations to our winning bidder, and we'd like to especially thank our sellers for trusting us to auction off your property today. If you are not a winning bidder this morning, remember we have plenty of auctions that are coming up. Later today at 1 o'clock, we have 284 acres in Redwood County right here on AuctionCast. Then on March 28th at 2 p.m., we have 37.35 acres in Floyd County, Iowa. That'll be online only. And on the same day, we have 20.98 acres in Decatur County, Indiana. That's online only as well. Then on April 10th, we have 31 acres in LeSueur County, Minnesota, right here on AuctionCast. And later that day at 11 a.m., 87 acres in Goodhue County, Minnesota, right here on AuctionCast as well. And later that day at 1 p.m., 137 acres in Rock Island County, Illinois, right here on AuctionCast. Our auction manager, Brian Haugen, will be in touch with the winning bidder here, so he's going to give you a call here shortly. Folks, if you're thinking about buying or selling, keep Land Pros at the top of your list. You can connect with our team at landpros.com or the number on your screen at any time. Thanks again for joining us here at Land Pros AuctionCast, and have a great rest of your day.